Hello, ladies. Hello. Just wait for everyone to get in, and then we'll be getting started. Um, okay. I am going to drop some stuff. There's going to be people coming in for the next couple of minutes. So just give everyone a chance to join. And I'm also just going to drop some stuff into the chat so you've actually got stuff to work with, which I meant to have ready. Alrighty. Um, if so, have a look in the chat and you should have a link. Please read the instructions. If you are having any issues, just let me know. I will be sharing my screen with you anyway. So we'll just wait another minute or two and then we'll get started. And I'm excited for today's session. Oh, yeah, people not being able to get in. Hang on a second. I knew that was going to happen. Make sure you've got your water bottle ready to go. Welcome to those that have just joined. I'm going to drop a link into the chat because I don't think you can see it. This is what we're working with. So what you're doing is you're creating a copy of this. So if you don't have it, that's okay. The questions will be in the slideshow, and you can just like write them on a pen and on a notebook and pen. Oh my God, how am I going to do this if I can't even talk properly already? So read in the chat the message. So in the chat, I'm just sharing the copy of the Google Drive with the file that you're needing. You just click make a copy and you can use that. Otherwise, it'll be up on the screen if it's too tricky. I'm just going to mute everybody, and then that way you can just unmute yourself if you need to ask questions, if you get stuck or anything like that. There's still a couple of people joining. So please let me know if you have been able to click on it. So you just go make a copy. Otherwise, just write in on some paper and I'll go through the questions on the screen anyway. All right. We have so many people registered. I don't know where everybody is and I don't really want to wait. I'm thinking of everyone's valuable time. Before we get started, we're just going to do a bit of a inner self connection and just really sort of I think after everything that's happened around Australia in the last 24 or however long it's been, I think a lot of people are feeling the heaviness of what's going on, and I want you to be able to connect in with yourself tonight. Obviously, I feel a lot of heavy energy, assuming everyone else does. So if you are okay, just for the next 2 to 3 minutes, we are just going to concentrate on our breath and connect to our self-reflection for 2025. So what I'm really wanting is if you can give me the next 2 to 3 minutes of the opportunity for you to ground yourself. So just sitting with your eyes closed, and just sitting in your chair, or you're lying on your bed, whatever you're doing, just try and relax. So closing your eyes, just trying to relax and just concentrate on your breath. Concentrating on your breath and just really trying to drop your shoulders and relax. And when we have our eyes closed, it's just easier to not feel like we're getting distracted or anything like that. I want you to use this as an opportunity to fully arrive into this session for the next 45 minutes to an hour. Hopefully, You can be present, not being distracted, and just arrive back into your body and your mind and your heart. So let's all take a big deep breath in together. So breathing in and breathing out. Now I want you to breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to just do that again, in for 4 and out for 4, just counting in your head. And as you're exhaling, just really drop your shoulders. And going again, really trying to release and let go of anything that's bothering you. Breathing in for 4, out for 4, and if you can do that another time, in for 4, keeping your eyes shut but letting your breathing just go back to your regular breathing. I want you to reflect over 2025. Maybe for you it's going through each month. Maybe for you it is thinking about the achievements you've had or the roadblocks you felt like you hit or experienced. I want you to think back to any moments where you feel like it was a big win. Maybe you had been feeling stuck in an area and you were able to push through it. Maybe it's a moment where you've been questioning yourself. And we're doing this without judgment. Don't overthink it. Just let them come to you. And when you're thinking about them and reflecting over them, what are you noticing in your body? Is there like a tightness, a heaviness? This is not just about our mind, it's also about our body as well. And our body holds the wisdom of everything we've experienced. It remembers. Every single moment of this year, all the big things, the small things, the amazing achievements, the wins, and the not so great things. It's all been teaching you something and preparing you for something, moving you towards something. When you're ready, take another big deep breath in and exhale completely. And open your eyes when you're ready. Is there anybody, please use the chat if that's easier. Is there anybody that hasn't got access to the workbook or is happy to just go off the screen and we'll just write on a pen and paper? Just let me know if anyone's having any issues there. I've got everything up in front of me, so hopefully I will be able to help you if you get stuck. Let me just make sure the chat is showing as well for me. Okay, sure. Let me just check this works. Okay, so what we're doing is in the chat is the Google Drive. All you need to do is to open that and then click on the 3 little dots on the worksheet, on the self-reflection workbook. Do make a copy. If you have not done make a copy and you start typing in there, everybody will see it. If you have trouble opening it into Google Drive, it might be because you're not logged into your Google Drive, which is fine. You can just download it onto your computer or onto your phone. If that's too hard, then just go off the screen and you can go back and fill it out later if you want to. Yeah, hopefully everyone's got a copy of that. All right. And I've got the chat in front of me if anyone needs help or gets stuck. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Melissa Wilkes. I'm a nutrition and mindset coach. And I have actually, do you know, I was looking through all my previous self-reflection sessions I've done over the years, and this is my 6th year of running them. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So I did it all through COVID. Every single year, I have never missed it. And what I usually do is in January, I run a vision board as well. So if anyone's interested in that, let me know. I really wanted tonight's session to be a real upgrade to what I've been doing before, and sharing more, giving you more thought-provoking questions so that you can really go into 2026 on a really different level. A bit about me, I was the girl who had not a healthy relationship with food, but also not a really great relationship with myself, and it's something I really had to work on. I grew up watching my parents with their own wounding project that onto me, and I then pretty much projected it onto my first 2 kids. And a lot of my journey has been for myself and then for clients, and I'm really grateful to have clients on this session today. But one of the things that I really have learnt about myself is the more I reflect, the more I have an opportunity to grow and to change and to be a different person. And if you're not doing much self-reflection, I really invite you to have a think about this over the Christmas period, how you can do this more. I feel like we always have an opportunity to change things that don't serve us. And the real shift comes from that awareness, and we can't have the awareness if we don't have that reflection. So I hope this really does help you tonight. I'm just going to quickly cover the power of reflection, and then we're going to deep dive into mindset, habits, health, finances, and self, and help you find some of your blind spots, something I'm quite good at doing. So if that's something that you would like to really go that bit further, I guess, I'd suggest engaging in the chat and sharing a little bit more about your own journey or your experiences or any aha moments that you have with me for the rest of the session. And then we can look at 2026 being a really great year. I have been my business Improve Yourself has been going for 10 years. And last year I started a whole new coaching program called Life Upgrade, and this is the Life Upgrade method. One of the biggest things I've realized, and why I brought so much mindset into my coaching over the last few years, especially even more, is because mindset is where we really get to do that long-term change. And obviously key parts is food and emotions as well. But tonight what we're actually doing is we're looking at rewiring our mindset, and we're looking at our beliefs, because some of the things that you've created for yourself this year, a lot more than you probably realize, are there because they're connected to your beliefs. And so we've got an opportunity here to kind of deep dive into this as well. Yeah. So when we pause and reflect, we get an opportunity. Everything's so fast, right? Like you think about it. On the weekend, we had our family Christmas. So um, all my family, we spend every second year together, and all the family goes off and does different things this Christmas. So we spent the whole weekend together as a family, an extended family. And I was off my phone and put on do not disturb on my phone for the weekend. So from Friday afternoon until Sunday lunchtime, Sunday afternoon. And it was the best feeling. I can't tell you the last time I've done that. The only time I do that is when I'm running retreats. And it was very interesting to see how many notifications I get in my phone. So when I turned the do not disturb off, the amount of notifications I had yesterday afternoon made me feel really like icky. Like I literally felt that. And I realized that our phones are geared up to do that. You think about even if you put, no notifications on your phone on different apps and stuff like that, they still notify you. And so we're in such a busy, fast paced world. We're constantly being interrupted. How are we supposed to remember what our goals are, let alone what we're like working towards, right? And I think what's happening is we're becoming the passenger in our life instead of the driver. And that's something I talk about with my clients a lot is we need to jump back into that driver's seat and really get back in control. So if you feel like you were doing really well for some of this year and then the last few months maybe they slid, went a bit sideways, I'd love to hear in the chat what you are feeling when it comes to reflecting just in the last 5 to 10 minutes on this year, and knowing that we are constantly being distracted. And if we don't look at ways that we can self-reflect, how are we going to be able to make those changes and that growth that we want for ourselves? Yeah, and stop blocking ourselves. I don't know why that's blurry. That's not good. um, We've all had moments where we're stuck, right? We have these really big goals. We have these big dreams. I know I do. But sometimes something's holding us back. Like we feel like we're hitting the same walls. The same repeated patterns are coming up. And we're like, why am I not making any difference? Yeah. And we're like, okay, well, what's going on? And that's what this is really about. It's being able to go, okay, well, what is it that you're doing? There are three things that may be impacting you and the reason why you're getting stuck. It's the knowing doing gap is a big one. So that's something that I hear with clients a lot is the knowing doing, or when women first start working with me, they say, I know what to do, but I can't do it. So that's something that they say a lot. If this resonates with you, please share. The other is the pattern loop, repeating the same cycles year after year despite creating goals. So maybe you're really good at creating goals and getting them started, but you just find that no matter what, it just doesn't happen. Or it's the motivation part. So you're waiting for willpower instead of building awareness. And I think what the biggest thing is, what was it that I was saying to my clients in group coaching last week? People that say they need to get ready, like getting ready, like that's action. But a lot of people feel like it's a feeling. Oh, I feel like I need to be ready. You don't need to feel to be ready because it's not a feeling, it's an action. We need to take that action and start doing the stuff, right? So let's look at what is keeping you stuck and that you might have not realized. And this is internal. These are the invisible scripts and stories and beliefs that we have running in the background. And they can be limiting beliefs that we have from our childhood, It can be fear of success or just having a lack of clarity about what we truly want or what direction we're going in. So, what I hear a lot of is, oh, I really want to be healthier. But there's that belief that that you can't do it, or I, actually don't like eating healthy, or, you know, I'm always going to be overweight. And what happens is you end up sabotaging your best efforts every time because the core belief that's there is actually keeping you stuck. So I want you to identify what you believe your limiting beliefs could be. And do you have one of these fears that's coming up for you when you think about your goals that you tried to do this year? Did you find that you had fear of failure, fear of success, or fear of judgment that was blocking you? Does anyone resonate with that? Yeah? Not hearing from anyone. No one's writing in the chat, so I'll just wait for you guys to share um, that you're still with me.
Melissa, sorry,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. I'm on my phone and I can't see anywhere to chat.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Claire. Sorry.
Yeah. I've just put the thing in the chat, so it should come
Ah,
up for you like as a prompt. And then that way that you should be able to see it, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay. Um, so hopefully that link works. But if it doesn't, you can use your pen and paper on your um, yeah, on your desk or whatever. I'm trying to read messages and answer at the same time. Oh my gosh. So think about what fears you have that come up. Think about the things that stop you. What are the things that stop you from reaching your goals? And I think for a lot of people, it is actually fear of failure. And if we think we're going to fail, what's the point in even trying? Like, literally, what's the point? Because if we, like, what happens is we will try to find evidence of the failure. Yeah. We will try to find evidence of it. And a lot of times we can do that. So that's something to think about as well, that we will find the evidence that we seek. Um, yes. Okay. I'm just reading the chat. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Thank you for sharing. Keep sharing. That really helps. Um, so what happens is there are things that are blocking us, and it's good to get really clear on what that is. Okay. Um, sorry, ladies, there's just three new people that have joined, so I'm just trying to make it all work on my end. Yeah. So what we're really wanting to do is to just try to identify what it could be that's coming up. Does anybody else want to pop in the chat what they think then that there might be a limiting belief they have, or maybe it feels like you can resonate it more when you think about a story that repeats in your mind, kind of like a thought loop that repeats over and over. Or whether you can identify with any of these fears: fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment, things that are keeping you small. And then can you see that it's repeating a pattern in your life? Yeah. Trying to, yeah. Oh, yes, Linda, congratulations. I love that for you. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. So being able to see what our fears are help us to identify what is actually stopping us, because these things are stopping us. You're going to be able to go through this next part by being able to figure out what it is that's stopping you, because I'm really good at helping people with discover what their blind spots are. Um, and also to give you an outside perspective, help you see like the patterns that you're stuck in. If you share, excuse the typos on there, I was trying to be quick. I'm not here to give you the answers, that's the thing, because I don't know what's going on in your head. But I'm going to ask you the questions that's going to help you to really identify it. Um, and I love that analogy there. You can't see the label from inside the jar. So that's really what I'm good at sort of noticing. So hopefully you can trust me through this part. All right, so we're going to go through and reflect through mindset, habits, health and body, finances, your true self, and we'll see what comes up through that with this part. Okay, and I think it's going to be really, really helpful. So in your workbook, if you can go to section 1, that's called mindset, and we're going to look at the first thing, which is the dominant story you told yourself in 2025. Was it one of struggle or growth? And please use the chat if you can. I'm just moving my screen around so I can see people, because I've got all your faces, then I've got like my notes, and then I've got like the chat. So I'm just going to keep up with it all. Yeah, struggle. Okay, that's a big one, that felt like your dominant story. So that's come up with a few of you. Struggle. Yeah, interesting. So missing out on the good stuff. Yeah. New job, great year. Well done. Growth. Started struggling, now growth. Yes, love that. Awesome. Yep. Okay. Um, so have a think about what you just said then. Where did that story come from? What created that? And was that story that you created, or that, really comes up for you for 2025, is that empowering you or limiting you? And in what way is it doing that? If you think about it, is it empowering you or limiting you? Because when we put out things like struggle, imagine what that does if that's your thought you're thinking quite often. Yeah, very limiting, no belief in myself. Yes, thank you for sharing. Because, like, whatever we tell our mind, it's going to believe it to be true, right? It doesn't know any different. It just knows what we tell it. Yeah. Um, what uh what hidden beliefs about your capabilities came to light this year? What hidden beliefs about your capabilities came to life when you think about the beliefs part of it? How did you learn that belief? Did someone teach it to you? Like, how does that belief serve you? I say this to clients all the time. Just because we do something that is not in alignment with the goals doesn't mean it's not serving us, which is why we repeat it. What's the payoff for holding on to it? Is it keeping you safe? Is it allowing you to not take risks? And what has been for someone like Joe who feels a bit different about 20 to 25, maybe it's looking at what has been created as possible in your mind when you look at it differently. When did you feel most defeated? What was a specific belief underneath that feeling? When did you feel most defeated? What was the specific belief underneath that feeling? Um, I've never been successful before. Why will this work? Yes. Frustration. I wasn't and I never will be good enough. Shame. I'm not good enough. Yep. Showing myself love, giving time to me. Yep. Okay. So see when you feel defeated, um, this is my life and I can't do it better. It's a big one. Yep. Shame. Shame is associated with not feeling good enough. Yes, absolutely. Why bother? Hmm. Yeah. Whatever I do, it will never be enough. So, do you see how when you felt most defeated, there was a very strong driving belief connected to that? Yeah? What do you think would happen if you let that belief go? Small choices, powerful outcomes. Yeah? So, what are you afraid will happen if you let go of that belief? Because I'm telling you now, the beliefs you realized from here, they're big. They're impacting your life quite a lot. Because for you, they're your truths. But that doesn't mean they're true. Um, sorry, I click on the chat and then I lose it. My bad. Um, Most defeated when feel out of control eating, opportunity to grow, not sure, too scared, more self-compassion. I can achieve whatever I put my mind to. I will live my best life free from the burden of the belief. Yeah, I might. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So these beliefs that we have and our biggest belief really has been um, creating quite a dominant story for you that will have played out in a lot of your choices and behaviors for 2025. So when we look at it, how can we let go of this? Who would you be without that belief? Who would you be without that belief? I mean, that's a pretty interesting one. So let's look at the positives of the year, the parts, the things that did work. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big one that's just been shared in there. I think the scariest part, I don't know who I am without it. Absolutely. A lot of this is identity work, right? We connect it to our identity. If it's about your health, and you feel like you're always sick, then you always think it's always going to happen. And if it's about your weight, it's just like I'm always going to be struggling with food or struggling with my body, and it becomes our identity. But at no point here is any of this a truth. It's a feeling and a belief. It doesn't mean it's a truth. So let's look into this a little bit more. Um, what one habit, and I hope you know where you are in the workbook. So I think we are, I'm not sure. I haven't got the workbook in front of me. I need to get it. We haven't got into habits yet. We're still in the mindset bit. I think we go into the habits now. So is everyone just done the mindset part? Yeah. Okay. If there's any parts that I've missed, that's great because it actually means you can go back into it when you get off this session and deep dive a little bit more. Our habits shape our days. Oop, somebody's somehow drawn on my screen. I don't know how you did that. Someone's just drawn on my screen. Um, our habits shape what we do consistently, and that affects our overall life. So I want you to look at the habits that you had in 2025 um, that worked for you and those that didn't. Okay. Because then it's easier for us to create what habits we did create and take them into 2026 and then look at the ones that we want to get rid of. Yeah. So what one habit would transform your life if you mastered it? Based on that real um, belief that you just shared, it might be connected to that. And then what habit is secretly sabotaging your biggest goals? And what are you finally ready to let go of? So for transformation and sabotage, please feel free to um, share in here in the chat or just writing in your book or both, which is really great. Because I have not got the book open. I should have probably had it there, and then we could have done it together. um, so let's look at our habits, okay? Um, what is the things that you had that um, what's one habit? What one habit would transform your life if you mastered it? And thinking about what it is that you probably have, what habits that are sabotaging your goals could be. And I really want you to kind of dive deep in this. It can be things like you wake up in the morning and you scroll on your phone for half an hour and then you rush to get ready for work. That is a habit that's sabotaging your biggest goals. You know, this is an example, but this is something I hear often because it changes the trajectory of your whole day because you didn't look after yourself that first, moment when you wake up. And what one habit would transform your life when you mastered it? So for some of you, it might be the way that you talk to yourself, but it could be also, um, something that's really, really personal. And the clearer you get with that, the more understanding you have. I'm going to just read out some answers. Putting myself first in meal prepping, looking at yummy food as a treat, being in the moment as much as I can be. I procrastinate, going to bed and waking up at the same time, aiming for 8 hours each night. Gaming so much, which is where I lose myself and don't worry about things. It's my happy place. It's your numbing place, I would say. Need to let go of telling myself that I don't have enough time. I do. It's how I choose to use it. I think we can all relate to that, telling ourselves that we don't have enough time. And that's one of, not for everybody, but for a lot of people, it was definitely definitely a problem and block for me. And it does sabotage our goals because we'll never find the time because it's a belief we really strongly believe in. Yeah. Um, so when we look at how this habit has been sabotaging our biggest goal, why do you think you stick with it? Why do you think that it's something that you're still doing? What do you think that's happening there that is creating that for you? Hmm. So I feel like it's important to get really curious with ourselves. This is not about judgment. Like if you're judging yourself, this is not going to be a helpful session. This is really about getting curious and just really reflecting on how the year looked and looking at it in a realistic way. So maybe for you, it's what is it that you resisted? Because a lot of times there's resistance for that change. And then, maybe that habit that was sabotaging your goals, really getting curious about how um, it was actually giving yourself something in that moment. And how can you find a different way to give that to yourself rather than the habit that's sabotaging what you're doing? So if that habit had a voice, imagine that habit had a voice, what would it be telling you? Because the reason why I ask is there's generally an underlying need. It's not actually the habit that's the problem, it's the unmet need. And so that habit became your solution. But there's actually an unmet need there. It could be that you needed comfort, connection, control, to slow down. What is it that you really needed there? Anyone want to share anything? Please feel free to in the chat. Um, let's look at if your 2025 habits continue, what does your future look like? Let's get real here. This is a bit confronting, but I want you to paint me a picture so I can understand where you're at. What does like a typical Monday look like for you in a year's time if you don't change anything? How does your future with your body feel in 12 months' time if you're not changing? And is that the future that you want? Okay, just reading some of these. Yeah. Yep. You've had it a long time, many years. It's hard to break the cycle. I get that. Um, yeah, distracted. And it's usually external distraction that we go to. So yeah, I definitely can see that. I just needed to get through this year. I needed to rest and not add additional pressure to myself to be better. I'm the priority. Have always put work and others first. Yeah, it's a very big belief shift to um, change, and will be so rewarding when you do. Who am I if I'm not the people pleaser? Yeah. I don't really people please very often. I don't think people would say I'm a bad person. But yes, I get it. I feel like I'm a recovering people pleaser. It was my forte. Not anymore. I tell you what, you have so much free time when you're not a people pleaser. Uh, wow, that's a big statement again, Claire. Wow, big breakthroughs. Yeah, it's time to face up to things. I think that it's a big thing. I think that's showing you when you say things like what I'm hearing, when you say face up to things, is anything that's in your face, you have like just fully avoided, distracted, dissociated from. And so, just know that the small little steps going forward means that you're kind of choosing what you're facing. And it isn't as um, huge as it probably feels. Yeah. But face up to things is a big one. Um, whatever you choose, and this is kind of going a bit off from what we're talking about a little bit, but whatever you choose is actually uncomfortable. So there's the uncomfortable that you know and is familiar, and then there's the uncomfortable that you don't know and is unfamiliar. So, uncomfortable and familiar is the stuff that you're doing that's blocking yourself, that's keeping you stuck. And everybody chooses that because we're designed that way. We're always designed for familiar, we're designed for safe, we're designed to repeat ourselves. Yeah. But it's when we choose the part where we don't actually know for sure that we're going to be safe and we take our step to that and we make that choice to go in that direction instead, that we have the biggest growth. When people turn around and say step out of your comfort zone, I don't actually think people that, like, I say it too, but I don't think those people, and that might be us that I'm referring to, I don't think we are actually comfortable. We're not comfortable having an unhealthy relationship with food. We're not comfortable weighing more than we want to weigh. We're not comfortable, sabotaging our results. We're not comfortable hiding away in our home and not socializing. We're not comfortable putting others first. That none of that's really comfortable. We just, it's just familiar. That's really all it is. So that's something to think about. Food filled the void related to a lack of affection and attention from my mother as a child. Well, I can 100% relate to that. Um, and I think that is such a powerful thing to like be able to notice. But let's look into what is that belief around that affection and attention as well. Um, going up and down in weight and pain, not moving much in the right direction. Yeah. Well, then my answer to that, um, and I hope you're okay with me saying this, but what is it? What habit is secretly sabotaging your biggest goal then, Sue? What habit is secretly sabotaging your biggest goal? Because yes, I do believe it's identity um, as well, but there is a reason, and it's connected to our belief, which plays out in our habits and our behavior. So, what is it that you're still doing that's sabotaging? Let's move to health and body. So, this will be the next part of your workbook. There's so many spelling errors in here. Ah, that's funny. Sorry about that. Okay, let's get real clear on health and body and see what comes up here. Um, so how did you prioritize your physical and mental health in 2025, and where did you neglect yourself? So see what comes up for you here. So when you neglected your health, what were you prioritizing instead? How did you prioritize your physical and mental health in 2025? Where did you neglect yourself? I want to know, when you neglected your health, what were you prioritizing instead? Because yeah, others, um, sugar cravings. Yeah. So when you decided to neglect your physical and mental health, and I've asked you what were you prioritizing instead, what does that make you realize about yourself and your values when you did that in that moment? I know that's quite jarring, probably, because I just thought of what my answer was. And then I thought about what does that tell me about my values in that moment? Yeah? That doesn't feel very comfortable. Doesn't feel very comfortable, does it? Mm, a lot of prioritizing everybody else. Yeah. Yeah, wow. I don't value myself enough. Believing others are more important than me. Didn't value myself enough. It means I don't think I'm worth much. Yeah. But I'm sure, Liz, that you could connect to a part of that was supporting your mental health. But what part of it do you feel like you did maybe neglect? Because there's always parts. Yeah. Um, so what's the story that you're telling yourself where you put yourself last? What's the story you're telling yourself when you put yourself last and you're putting everyone else first, including pets? And I've got a pet, I've got a dog. Absolutely love my dog, but I'm asking you, um, what how does this? What thoughts are you having there? Mm, I've survived so far, not prioritizing myself. Yep, keeping yourself in survival mode. Yeah, a lot of realizations, I would say, about how you feel about yourself. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask you something I don't think it's on here. Um, what signals did your body send you this year? What signals did your body send you this year? Because this is such a big one for me. Like it's one of the things I bring up a lot in my coaching with my clients. I really like to bring this question up a lot. What signals is your body sending you? So what signals did your body send you this year? I know what mine are because I've done a ridiculous amount of reflection this year throughout the year. Um, Pain, exhaustion on every level, not good ones. Before starting the program, I didn't know what to look for in regards to body signals. Yes. So, what would you say now? Now that you know, Bianca, what would you say? Um, Tension, sickness, low energy. Oh, yeah, until it forced me to acknowledge it. Yeah, that it's not happy with me. Yeah. Um, can you recognize what was your relationship with food and cooking? Because this is how we nurture and love on ourselves, right? Through food, don't we? So if we start to look at our relationship with food and creating food, yeah, what is it that it brings you? What does it bring you? Does it bring you a sense of control or yeah, yep. Okay. So when we think about how we nourish ourselves, food was tied to childhood shame, so I didn't give it time or the planning it needs. Yeah, so it was linked to really deep childhood stuff. And so by visiting the food, it felt like you would be visiting the childhood. And so it was easy to just block it. Yeah, because we don't want to have to deal with two things instead of one. Absolutely. And look at you now doing both at the same time, Natasha. So, big changes. So how can you, when you look at your relationship with food and cooking over this year, how does it look to you? What are you seeing? What changes are happening there? And, like, what does your body signal to you when it comes to food and cooking? Don't forget to connect with your body too, because that's such a powerful thing. If anyone's lost in the book, let me know. Food and cooking is one thing I can control. Yes. I feel empowered when it comes to food and cooking, but I didn't used to. So I know it's possible. Um, but there's so many different beliefs that can come up around it and stories that we tell ourselves and the habits that are locked in that it takes us doing these deep dives and reflecting and really going, well, if I was going to treat my body like the most important, cherished, loved thing, what would I be doing differently? So think about, if you were going to change that, how would you change it? Um, when you looked in the mirror this year, what's the first thing you usually said to yourself? This one might be more confronting. I'm not sure. It depends. We're all on different journeys. Some of us have real issues with our body, some of us don't, and that's totally fine. We'll all go through different experiences with our body. I think we go through times where it bothers us, times where it doesn't bother us, times where it bothers us again, times where it doesn't, and that's okay. So let's get a bit more real about the mirror. And I know that for some women, um, they totally avoid it, and that was me, so I get that. Um, yeah, wow, big ones here. Um, Realizing nourishment for our body equals more energy, feeling good about myself, and my body is responding well. Just in the past couple of weeks, starting to realize that my body does not like fast food at all, whereas previously I would just shrug it off. Love that. I love that realization. Yes. Um, Blah. I'm guessing that's the question. Try not to look. I really don't like what I see. I look old, gross, blah, annoyed clothes don't fit properly, hate the mirror, avoid it. Felt embarrassed, ashamed. This is it. I felt bad about my body and not worth caring. I have fast food. I feel so crappy and then I can't walk for days properly. Yeah. Okay. This is kind of what I was covering before, and the question's actually here. What is your body trying to teach you? What is your body trying to teach you? Maybe you're noticing something that's coming up. Did you see it and ignore it? Um, and then we can really connect to that need after. So, what is it that you realized? For me personally, I was planning on sharing my answers to all of these, and I haven't because I've been trying to concentrate on you guys, the chat, my prompts. um, what did your body teach you? So for me, it was to like not overdo it. So I got so obsessed with, and I do this sometimes, like I go too far and I forgot to keep my own boundaries. And I teach this stuff, so I'm very human. But I got so obsessed with walking, I could easily walk 12 to 15 Ks every morning. And I was loving it. And I felt so energetic. I felt on top of the world until I got a really decent injury that I've had for over 3 months in my hip. And, my body just like, you can't do that much. You want to. And it's not like I need to go heaps far the other way, but there wasn't enough of the stretching. There wasn't enough, like, where was the day off, like that sort of thing. And because I was feeling so good in it, I wasn't checking myself or reflecting on that particular thing. My body was trying to teach me, yes, you can do more than you were doing yesterday. You can do more than you were doing the week before, but you don't need to go over the top, Melissa. So that's what my body was definitely teaching me. Um, Nourish me, move me, stretch me. The better I eat, the better I feel, and lots of water. I love movement. I can be pushed harder. Mm. Little wins are still wins. Each win leads to another win. Absolutely. Resonate with this so much. Yep. My body taught me that food plays such a huge role with me on pain and inflammation. Looking after my body, it shows me that it appreciated it. Absolutely. So my feedback on that is, so what is that previous question I asked? What is the habit that you still keeping that could be sabotaging you with the pain? Yeah. Okay. What does your body desperately need from you in 2026 to support your dreams? Let's finish that off. And if you're not sure, you can always go back to it. Yeah. Um, I'm not going to do finances because of the time, but I do think it's an important thing. Here's my take on finances. It generally affects a lot of people. And if we don't do a reflection of it, what I notice is that we don't invest in ourselves. And investing in yourself doesn't have to mean working with a coach, although if you want to, awesome. But it could mean that the finances mean that you're in a position where you can have a day off once a month, or you can book more massages, or you can book day spas more, or you can go and meet your friends for a coffee more. It does mean that you're not constantly overworking. So, how can we get ourselves in a financial situation where we don't feel overwhelmed by our finances, that we can't do things for ourselves? Yeah, finances are such a big part of it. I really think that. Um, think about this year. When did you feel like most like your authentic self in 2025? When did you feel like your most authentic self in 2025? What did you do purely for joy with no external reward attached? These are actually really, really powerful, because this is where we can connect to the things that worked for us this year and move them into 2026. And what are you most proud of yourself for achieving or becoming this year? Hopefully some of you are going to write boundaries down. Putting some boundaries in. When you think about, you know, what we've been about up until now, is where your life felt heavy, felt hard, felt restrictive, felt draining. What was impacting that? So now we're looking at really like, what are the things that are the opposite of that, that's really made you feel lit up? What are the things that you did that just gave you just pure joy? No reward. You just felt amazing. Hopefully, when you look at when you honored your values and boundaries this year, it was being able to say no at least once to somebody. If not, maybe that's something you can practice for next year. Yeah. When I ate healthy and therefore felt normal and could enjoy doing things. And you did a lot. You did a lot of that. Think about um, where else that's happened to, the things that you did just for joy, and in what ways you honored your values and boundaries this year. I know you've put in some boundaries this year, so what does that look like? Um, I started working 4 days this year from part-time. Best decision I've ever made. And still spending like full-time. Yeah. Games night with the kids. Yeah. Perfect timing, Claire. Love that. Learning to develop a healthy lifestyle in all areas of my life, not just food. Yeah. Staying the path of improving me, nurturing me, putting boundaries in place with family, work colleagues, and friends. And you can see that in your results, Natasha. Um, I did my first multi-day hike. It was hard, but I made it. Now I want to get fitter and do more. Yeah. So the next part is actually connecting to our why. Proud. Clearly see how the relationship with my ex affected me, and knowing that I'll never give up my peace again. Yes. Um, yes. Water intake, saying yes to me more, saying no. On holiday, all the work I've done in Life Upgrade paid off, keeping up with everyone, excelling with snorkeling. I love snorkeling. So proud of you, Natasha. You've got a great year to reflect on. And then looking at what you can do to make it even um, better going forward. Uh, Went away on my own and had an incredible experience seeing baby turtles hatch. Yeah. I learned to look at myself with curiosity and not with judgment. I'm looking at how I can be a better person. Oh my gosh, I can relate to that. Spent so much of my life judging myself. That was actually one of my self-sabotaging ways of blocking myself, because there was so much self-judgment, and that really does block us from, reaching that next part of, we can't see if we're so busy like just criticizing ourselves and judging on ourselves. Yeah. So it looks like there's quite a lot that's coming up for you. Um, when you One thing you can do is to go back over this and look at your answers and look at these, treat them like data points. Like, what do you see? That there'll be themes throughout this that are emerging, where you see a pattern where you've played small, where you've neglected yourself or neglected your health. But maybe you're feeling that shift towards choosing you, that shift towards making change, that shift towards, you know, feeling a bit more courage, feeling a bit more like, I don't know what this means, but I'm going to step in and do what I need for myself. What we're wanting to do is really connect with our wins and to have awareness of our struggles, to really notice the pattern. That is where our biggest aha moments come from. And by sitting here and just going through this for the past hour, what you've probably realized is you have a lot of patterns and they have been blocking you or keeping you small or keeping you stuck. And they are affecting you and what life you can achieve. We all have different goals in life, but if we don't understand what's blocking us, it's going to be a lot more work to get there to achieve it. Yeah. Um, so this is a bit of a reflection for you to do, is look at, where do you consistently stop yourself when things are going well? Is there a ceiling you hit in happiness or success? I've recognized mine really properly, or my most recent one, only this year. Only this year I've discovered it. And I'm always doing this on myself, and I'm like, oh, I see it now. As soon as I hit something, it's like, oh, I've given myself permission to just like back off. But that keeps you stuck, because then you're putting a glass ceiling there. What is the common denominator in the area that drains you? Is it a lack of boundaries, people pleasing, or misalignment? And I think for you, it might be boundaries if you're a people pleaser. And if you're a people pleaser, just giving up your time and energy for others way too much, not knowing how to say no. And the misalignment is most likely you're doing things for the wrong reasons. So, what that means is something you think is important is where you're putting your energy and focus. That's not in alignment with what you want. And if you don't know what you want or what you need, or whether you're actually meeting those needs, you're not going to feel in alignment with your life, let alone with yourself. And then, how do we have fear and excitement coming together? Because um, a lot of times, what we don't realize is nerves and excitement, the brain actually sees them exactly the same. I don't know if you know this. Nerves and excitement, our brain sees it exactly the same. It has the same responses. So it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be, um, apprehensive even. But if you allow fear to take over too much, it is going to stop you and block you. So how can you look at, like, I can be excited about my goals and I can move in the direction that I want to take. Yeah. What if I could look at 2026 and think about what does that look like for me? What do I want that to feel like? So let's go really quickly through this. What went well? The successes, the joys, and the breakthroughs, the moments where you felt aligned and alive. What do you want to amplify from that to take into 2026? What didn't go well? So that's the challenges, the frustrations, and the setbacks, the areas where you felt stuck or drained. What do you want to change? And if you can deep dive in this, it makes a huge, huge impact. So for me, when I'll just talk about business rather than personal for now, because it always comes so much easier. For me, when I feel challenged and frustrated and set back, I actually go in the opposite direction to solve the problem instead of um, stopping and giving myself time to be in that moment more. So to be in that uncomfortable that I always talk to everybody about, that's a client, the let's get comfortable being uncomfortable. Instead of trying to problem solve it straight away, instead of trying to push through it, for me, it doesn't go well when I'm trying to like quickly get into the problem solving. I need to sit and create that space. I can do it in my personal life, but when it comes to business, my head is in this different mode and I'm trying to like problem solve and fix it. And that can really, keep me stuck because I haven't stopped to take note. And sometimes there's emotion connected to that. Whereas when I'm in my personal life, that's all the stuff I teach my clients. It's very easy for me to recognize that. So big aha moments for myself. Uh, wow. I have the tenacity to put yeah, yeah, your body is pretty amazing for sure. The people, environments, and events that influence your year, both positively and negatively. So I started through, the girls' Facebook group that I help moderate. I got asked to do a monthly catch up. And when I started it the first couple of months, I was like, oh, this is so much work. And I had a story in my head about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's another thing I'm doing. It's events and all that stuff. I've actually made some new friends this year that I'm really that were part of my goals for this year. So how funny is that? My goal for this year was to start socializing more and, just a couple of women that I could be friends with that were more in alignment with, like, there's nothing wrong with the friends I have now. I love them to bits. But friends that are more in alignment with like where I'm at in my like business and things that I'm doing and stuff like that. People I can kind of go to more like networking events with or, create like improving your business sort of stuff. And lo and behold, this friendship group thing that I created, I started to really enjoy going. And the more I did it, the better I enjoyed it and the more friends that I've made from it. And some of them are the kind of people that you'll just talk and chat with them once a month at the event and then like on Facebook. Other ones that I've caught up with for a coffee in between. And I'm like, there was a belief there, and I caught my belief and totally changed it and put in different kind of energy. It's interesting how the impactors have influenced me, and I realized that story that I'd kind of created. Yeah. The lessons, the core wisdom you've gained about yourself, the truth that can no longer be ignored. What's the number one lesson of 2025? I'd love you to share it before you go. What is the core wisdom you've gained about yourself, the truth that you can no longer be ignored? Who's okay to share? Anyone okay to share this? Yeah. Core wisdom, I can. I can. Simple. So simple. My thoughts are not based on fact. I don't believe everything I think. Absolutely. Yeah. Our thoughts are just stories, and our brain doesn't know if it's true or not. It just thinks it's true. I can look after myself, cook healthy, and be kind. Abso-freaking-lutely. And you're ready to. Yeah. What's the number one lesson of 2025? Does anyone else want to share? The number one lesson of 2025? Anyone else want to leave theirs? Yep. Just keep doing it even if you don't want to. It's about consistency. Yeah. Or working out why you don't want to do it. And figuring out if it's, part of that story. That I'm actually a nice, friendly person who can make new friends and discard who is no good for me. Absolutely. The people around us do have a huge impact. Then small steps lead to bigger wins. Hell yes, they do. I love that. Yeah. Is anyone else wanting to share their number one lesson of 2025? If you can, still share it in there. Inside is just the beginning. You have a map, but a map is just the journey. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't a lack of knowledge, it's a lack of structure. Transformation requires strategy and accountability. So, looking at um, what is it that you really need to ensure happens for you this year? I mean, next year in 2025. I suggest looking at creating yourself a 2026 blueprint. Yeah. I am considering running the event for the blueprint in January, but I'm also offering if anyone wants to do a blueprint with me, they are most welcome. And if anybody that's not a client, obviously clients, I'm going to be doing this with you through December and January. But if anyone else is not a client and wants to book a call, you are most welcome. Happy to deep dive in with you and share with you how to do this. When it comes to this reflection, it's important to not give up and then just go, oh, I feel really good now, and forget about the things that you're working towards, especially because we're coming up to Christmas. We don't want to forget, okay, what is it that we're doing and how is it that we're going to do it? Because that is really the key. How are you going to do it? How are you going to bring this up? And make sure that there's action. I I used to think that if we put it out there into the universe, like we would manifest it. I don't know what happened because I did so much. I used to go to all those manifestation sessions and I used to run them. And I do believe in the law of attraction. I really do believe what you put out is what you receive. However, if we don't create the action, nothing changes. Nothing. Nothing changes at all. And so we've got to have a plan moving forward. So I've just dropped a link if you want to book a call with me, you're most welcome, and we'll plan out your 2026 blueprint. And I'm happy to help you figure out what it is that you are wanting to create for next year. And happy to answer any questions. If anyone has any questions, drop them in the comments in the chat. Sorry, we went a little bit over. I just want to thank you so much for joining me and for doing this really important work. It can really make a huge difference just by realizing a couple of key things, key things that can create a really big impact. Yeah. If you decide to keep going with this, and you wanted to share it with me via email or anything like that, you are most welcome as well to send it to me. All right, I'll let you all ladies go if there's no questions. Thank you so much. I've really loved and enjoyed the session with you tonight. Like I said, please feel free to reach out, share what you got out of it, or anything from your workbook. If you have any questions you felt funny about sharing them on here, please just send me a DM. I am very appreciative. So take care, ladies. And if I don't see you, if you're not a client and I don't see you, enjoy the last bit of 2025, and I will see you in 2026. Back in running lots of events, and I've got a day retreat I'm looking at doing for February. It's just mindset. So a mindset day retreat in Perth, if that's something you'd be interested in. Mindset day retreat and doing kind of deeper stuff than this, please let me know. Happy to share the details. I'm just finishing locking that out, and the location and everything in Perth. All right. Thank you so much, ladies. Take care. Good night. Appreciate you. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Uh, how do I? There we go. I'll see you later. Bye.